session, and today's session is one of the bootcamp session series, more like bootcamp awareness series. So we pick a topic a day, but then it's to get you to be aware of the free bootcamp that is going to start this week, which means you still have a chance to enroll. I'll share the link. Okay, so today one of the trainers at the bootcamp is presenting to us. Her name is Tolulope Olowookere, and for those of you that have been joining these sessions before now, you will be familiar with her because she's presented on different topics, different times since last year. Okay, so this session and including the bootcamp is powered by your BZH and MHS Analytics. I'll share this bootcamp registration link. So for the bootcamp itself, you can decide to, maybe what I'll do is maybe we'll just post it now. I think I have it copied somewhere. Register for the bootcamp at. Let me grab the link. Yes. So once you click on that link, you'll see that you can pick to be enrolled for just one or all three sessions, all three, SQL, Power BI, and Excel, or you just want to learn only one of them. And it's generally free, but if you want a certificate and some additional support, then that becomes a paid one. But in terms of content and what everybody will get is the same content and delivery. It's a live trainer, so it's not recording. Okay. And it's powered by your BZH. So we are a Microsoft Excel training consulting company based out of Nigeria, and we deliver Power BI, financial modeling, Excel sessions. Similarly, we've got an online resource LMS where you could pick a course and learn at your own pace. And you can also try out some of our free templates, free courses. I'll share this in the chat too. Let me just do that. Class. Okay, so access free and premium resources okay. And then I go back to the slide. And MHS Analytics is our Canadian arm. Similar services we render, but most of the clients we've got out of North America and Europe, this is the arm through which we engage them. So if in case you've got people who they want that industry experienced trainer, so they want people who already operate in that market and who can relate more with the needs and what employers and companies are looking for and how they use this data analytics solution within that market, then the MHS Analytics arm of our business is like a sister company to your business, might be more appropriate for you. So we are going to go straight to the live session, the demo. I'm going to hand over to Tolulope at this stage so that she takes us through what she's prepared already for us. So Tolu, over to you. I'll stop sharing my screen. You're on mute, Tolu, if you're saying anything.
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much for the warm welcome. Thank you, everybody, for being here. Today's topic is going to be about data cleaning using Excel. It might be something you're familiar with or you're completely new with. I'll start by sharing my screen, and then I'll also like to share the link to the data set I'll be using today. So I'll just drop that here in the chat. Okay, so let me share my screen. In case you want to follow along, you can just, it's a Google the file is in a Google Drive, so you have to download it as an Excel file, so you don't work with it on Google Sheets. All right, so I have this data set that doesn't look appealing, doesn't look well structured. It has a lot, there needs to be a lot of cleaning. You may like to ask, when or how do I know that I need to clean the data set? If I can read through the data and maybe make a little bit of sense out of it. For example, you can see on this customer name, I can easily say that, oh, this is Will Smith, Paul, Singh, Michael, what? I can make sense out of it, but why does the data really need cleaning? So the whole essence of data cleaning is it's part of the preparatory process for data analysis, and cleaning helps you to get a more accurate results from your analysis, so you don't run into the error of having misleading results. For example, maybe you have duplicates within your data and you complete the analysis with the duplicate, it might be giving you false um, results at the end. You can also have issues of having wrong spellings and a lot more. Even dates might not be formatted in the right way. So this whole session is going to show us tips and tricks on how to work with Excel and data cleaning within Excel. All right. So this is the data set I have. I have a date column, customer ID. This is the ID for every customer that has bought from us or that we have in our account. It's a fictional data, so everything that's happening here is fictional, but most times these are the techniques we use when we work with data. All right, so we have gender, the brand that the customer bought, the product he bought, the type of purchase, PH and ON. PH in this case means physical, and ON in this case means online. We also have location. We have the quantity the person bought, price, and the cost per unit. So we've tried to make sense out of these data sets that we have here using from basic to advanced data cleaning techniques. So looking at the first column, sometimes you might see your dates, especially when you get data from, or you copy and paste data from a different sheet or from somewhere. Maybe you can even import the data set as a CSV file. Once you paste it into Excel, sometimes you might find yourself seeing your date looking like this. And once your date looks like this, it just means it's not there's nothing to be scared of. This is just a number, because Excel has different data types that it understands. For every item you type into a cell in Excel, it is stored as either of four things. It's either stored as a text, or as a number, or as a Boolean, or as a formula. So you might wonder, let me differentiate all of them. So text, obviously, anything that is a text from A to Z and all symbols, they're all regarded as text. And by default, anytime you type a text, so if I type in my name here, for example, and I hit enter, text is always aligned to the left by default. But once I type in a number, I type in 1, 2, 3, and I hit enter, it's always aligned right. So you notice now that the number I've typed here and the date column, they are very similar. So they are aligned right. A date in Excel is also stored as a number, so we should also know that. And this number is just how many days after the first date that Excel recognizes. That's 1st January 1900. I'm right. So it's 1990, I'm not sure of that. So 44,554 is the days after that first date. So in order to make this make sense, we have to convert it into a proper date. So the next thing we'll have to do is, I was talking about the other data types. So there's also one called Boolean, and there's also a formula. So for Boolean, it's just a fancy name to call true or false. And anytime you type in true or false, so let me type in true into a cell and hit enter, it does two things. It capitalizes it and it also centralizes it. It capitalizes it and also centralizes it. That's how you know that a formula is true or false. Okay. Then we also have a formula rather. A formula is always starts with an equal to sign. And anytime you type in an equal to sign, Excel expects you to type in a formula. The formula can be adding two cells or finding the average among the range of cells and all that. So but we all know that when you want to start writing a formula or do any form of calculation, you must start with an equal to sign. All right, that's about data types. So we're going to first of all try to we're going to try to convert these dates into a proper date. So what you have to do is to highlight that cell, that table, the column, and then you go to the number column here in the home tab, and then you convert it to a short date. So instead of highlighting everything, I'll just highlight from the first cell down to the end. Then I'll use a short date now. So it has given me a correct date type. All right. So the next column is the customer ID. And for this customer ID, we can see that there's really nothing odd looking here, apart from some of the formats that has been applied on this data set. The next thing is the customer name. So this customer name, you can see that there's a separator between the first name and the last name. So it's wise to always split first name and last name for many reasons, even for further analysis. So in order to split that, I'll just create new columns. I'll right click and then insert. Right click and insert again. So I want to split this column into two new columns. So the formula or the steps I can take is to use, first of all, I'll highlight the portion I want to split. So I'm just using Control Shift and down arrow to highlight this portion. And then I go to the data tab. I'll see text to column. There's a function or a feature called text to column. So text to column is a good old feature that helps us to split text within a cell. Now, the text column wizard will appear, and you see there are two types, delimited and fixed width. For delimited just means does the text in that cell have a delimiter or a separator? So is there something common separating two items in a cell? If yes, we'll go with this, and if not, you can use the fixed width. But for the purpose of this class, we'll use just the delimited. Then we click on next. Now, the next thing for me to do is to choose the kind of delimiter that is common in this column. So just by looking at this column, I can see that I have this underscore, very common. But in this list of delimiters, I don't have underscore here. So I will just type in my underscore in the order. I'll check this. Now you can see that in this data preview, it has splitted some of my text. But I see that I still have some columns are not splitted because the delimiter is not same as the underscore. I can see full stop. I can see full stop, yeah. So there's no full stop in this. But there's comma for some. So let me just go check. This aminat comma 1000. Comma is part of a delimiter. So if I click on comma, it will split this for me. And let me just go through again. Are there any other ones? Sometimes it's even always best to just click on all of them just in case you're missing them out or it's a very large data set. So I've also splitted it by space, but there's still one missing, and this one is the limiter here is a full stop. So I click on finish next, and then I say finish. So what happens here is that it would split the columns it will split the cells that have an underscore, and it leaves anyone that it did not find delimiter for. So although this is very good and it's practical. Sometimes you might have columns that may have multiple delimiters. And so in that case, if you're using Office 365 or Excel version 2019 upwards, you would have a function called text split. So with the text split function, it does the same thing as your text to column feature. But in this case, it allows you to list out all the delimiters that you may possibly have in that column. So the first argument here says text. So this is the text I want to split, comma. It says column delimiter because I want to split this cell into columns. I will choose column delimiter. Now this is the point at which I need to list out all my delimiters or all my separators. Because I have more than one, I'll have to, if I had just one, like the underscore now, I'll just put the underscore in a double quotes, right? So I do this and all the other items are not necessary, they're not important. So I close my bracket and I hit enter. So it splits it into two cells for me, Will and Smith, and that's perfect. So with this, if I double click to populate or drag down, at every point that there is a under an underscore, it's going to split it for me. But anyway, it doesn't see underscore. Like this Jordan Woods, there's an issue here, so it can't split it for me. I need to list out all the points that have delimiters. So in this case, I'll just type in, let's go back a bit. Control Z, Control Z. I will have to list out all the delimiters I have. So text split is the name of the function. And this is the cell I want to split. The column delimiter down. When you are listing out all the delimiters, you have to put all the lists of delimiters in curly brackets. So I'll type in first the opening of the curly brackets, then I'll start listing all the delimiters. So I have underscore. Next one I have is a full stop, right? So I have to use comma to also continue the list. I also have a space, so I just put an empty space, comma, close the quotes. Then I also have a full stop. And I'll make sure that I think I've listed all. I close it with a curly bracket, and then I close my bracket, my bracket for my formula, and I hit enter. So with this now, I can drag down and split all of them. So I see that there's a value error here, and it's just because there's no item here to split. So we can ignore that for now. Okay. So I'll just call this first name, and I'll call this last name. I'll call this column last name. For the gender column, everything looks okay. I don't think there are any issues. Another faster way to find out if there's any issue is to just hit the filter button on your home tab or this on the data tab, and you can have a glimpse on what you have within that column. Then we also have branches here, or I mean brand rather. So I see Nike, I see Nike Inc., I see Nike UK. I'm guessing the data entry person that was doing this wanted, in order to allow for uniformity, it's better we have unique names throughout. So if we're choosing Nike, let's have Nike throughout. If we're choosing Nike UK, let's use that one. So I'm going to use a function called unique to just pull out the unique items in that column. So what do I mean? If I hit this filter button, I can see all the unique items, right? But sometimes I might want to look and come back, look and come back. So I'll just use the unique function now to spell it out, all the items I need. So that's what I'll do. But to shift down to highlight the whole range. and close my bracket, and I hit enter. So these are the items I have that are unique. They don't have duplicates within this column. All right. So what we need to do here is that we are going to use the find and replace feature to find and replace the items that are not properly spelled. So I'll just use the shortcut Control plus H. It brings up the find and replace menu. So what do I want to find? I want to find Nike ink, right? And I'll replace it with just Nike alone. So, okay, the ink has a full stop. So I'll replace all. So it told me 2 replacements have been made. I'll also do the same thing for Nike UK, and I'll replace all. So 2 replacements have also been made. I don't think we have any odd looking name here anymore. So this is fine. We've cleaned this column. So on to the next column. This is the product column, and we can see that the way it is typed out is in a funny manner or a funny font style. So if you use other Microsoft tools like Excel and PowerPoint, you notice that there's an icon around the home tab that you can switch between whether you want uppercase, lowercase, or sentence case. But in Excel, we don't have that feature. Instead, we have a formula to help us with that. So I'll right click and insert a new tab, and then I'll type in the formula. So there are 3 of them. There's upper, proper, and lower. So once I use upper gives you uppercase. This is how your item is going to look like. Same thing with lower, but in this case, I want to use proper because I want to capitalize each word. So proper is what will work best for me in this case. So it depends on what kind of data you're working with or who you're working with. So I'll call this column product claim. So it differentiates what we have. So it's always good to even get rid of columns that you're not working with or you have cleaned in my case. So this product column, I will just get rid of it by deleting it. But you notice that I have this error, and it's just because the formula that I wrote is linked to that column, and any changes I've made in that column will affect the current column I am. So in order to avoid such errors, what you have to do is after you've remember that there's a formula here, proper I3, right? I'll just highlight this whole column, then I would copy, and then when I'm pasting, I'll paste back to where I want it to be. I'll paste as values, right? So now if I double click on the column or anywhere in this column, I can see that there's no formula, just text that is there. So now I can easily delete this column and also rename this column, the header of this column. All right. So for the next one, we have purchase type. So purchase type, just by looking at this, is not so clear on what PH and ON means. And we don't even have a data dictionary to even describe what it means. But because we have knowledge of the data, there's the assumption. And we know that PH means physical, like physical store, and ON means online. It's better to write this kind of information out or in full so that people are not confused. So I'm going to use an if function to correct that. So what I'm going to do is using the if function. If logical test just helps you test the logic, you state what you want it to test for you. So what I want to do now is if you're telling the computer to come to J3, And if J3 is equal to pH, what should happen? Let's call that physical. And if it doesn't see pH, what should it call it? We should call it online. So something like this, and I hit enter. What's happening? Okay, I have to put the pH in double quote also because it's a text within a formula. All right. So pH is physical and ON is online. So I'll just populate the whole column. Then I'll copy this so we don't fall into that error anymore. I'll right click here and then I'll paste as values. So I'll replace what I had before and I delete this column. All right. Okay. The next one is the location. I can see that there are some excess spaces in this location column, and it would mean that the items in this location column are not the same. So you see, we have looking at this filter button, clicking on this filter button and looking at the list, you can see London, UK happening 2 times. And it's just because there's excess space between the two. So the computer does not see it as the same. So in order to avoid errors like this, it's better to get rid of excess spaces like this. And the easy way to do this is to use the trim function. So I'll create a new column again and type in trim. So the trim function helps you to get rid of excess spaces within your text. And you may wonder, how do we even get excess spaces in the first place? So the most common method or instance where people get issues like this is when they copy and paste stuff from the internet or from the web. So maybe you copy the name of the company, the kind of design that the website may have. There might be spaces in between the letters or something. So in that case, you might be copying the excess space and you wouldn't. So things like that happen in life. So using the trim function, I'm able to clear off all the excess spaces, and I have a better looking list. All right, so we'll do the same thing again. I'll copy with Control-C, and then I would paste here, and I'm going to paste only the values so I can now get rid of this. Okay, so another thing, looking at this location, is I feel like we can split this location into two. So in order for advanced analysis or even like to drill down into maybe states and country and stuff like that, we can split this into city and country. So I'm going to just quickly insert 2 columns. And in this time around, I'm going to use a function that is really easy and sweet, interesting. Let me put it that way. So if I type in London, let me just type it, okay, London, right? And I hit enter and I type in Madrid. Now you see, it just populates every item, like it's suggesting all the items I need to populate, and it is correct. So once this function or this feature is called flash fill, and the shortcut is Control-E. But once you're typing in, it suggests it has gone through your data set and seen where London is found, Madrid is found, and to just populate it for you. So it's easy. You can use the flash fill function to do that. I can also do that for the country also. So once I type UK, I type Spain. As I'm even typing S already, it's bringing all the information I need. So I just hit enter, and with enter, that's splitted the column into 2. So I'm going to call this city, and I'm going to call this country. All right, so because I've splitted this, I can get rid of this location. So now I have city and country, and I can make better analysis with this. So I also have quantity, and my quantity looks good. Then my price, there's something funny looking here because my numbers are left aligned. That means they are stored as text. Excel doesn't really understand why I'm writing or why the person wrote numbers like this. And it's because instead of using full stop, person use comma in place of decimal place. So it's really a bit confusing. So there's a function we can also use in this case. And that function is called the substitute function. It's just like find and replace. But instead of using a feature, you're using a function. And you know functions make your work more dynamic because anything that changes in the source would also be updated in the function. So if I go substitute, right? The text, the first argument here says text. So this is the text. The old text now that we want to change now, remember it's comma. So in double quotes or inverted commas, I'll put a comma, and then my new text is going to be full stop. So I do this, and then I close my bracket and I hit enter. So instead of having 122.79, I have 122. Instead of having 122.79, I have 122.79. And then I would populate that. So since there's a function behind this, I would copy it, and then I would I have to copy the whole thing, so I work smart. Copy this, and then I would paste here, paste as values. Right? It's still stored as text, so I just need to change it now to a number. It was the issue. Number stored as text, convert to number. All right. No. So I'll just convert it back to a number, and you see that it has been aligned right now. Okay, so I can get rid of this column. Now, I also have this cost per unit column, and this cost per unit column, I see that there are some numbers that are stored as text. So there are different ways to go about it, and another way you can use is also a formula. So using the value formula, so typing in value, you can change a number that's stored as text into a number. So if I hit enter, 51 remains 51 because this was the number, but this 43 that is aligned left is a text. So when I want to change that, I'll just drag down to the end, and it has given me the correct number. So I can copy this name, paste it here, and then delete this column. Okay. Remember, I did not copy and paste as values. That's why I still have, I'm getting that error again. So I'll paste as values, and then I'll delete this. So it looks better now. Next thing, I see some funny formats. Maybe the person that worked on this table was trying to make sense out of it, and he was highlighting some cells. So if you don't want any of these formats to affect your work, or you want to make your work look more uniform, you can just highlight the whole table by holding Control A on your keyboard. And the next thing you need to do is under the editing portion in the home tab, you see this eraser icon that says clear all. So you can clear all, clear format, clear hyperlinks. So I'll just clear all. Oops, sorry. I'll just clear all formats. That's what I wanted to say. Just clear all formats, and it gives me a blank canvas to work on. But our date is looking like it was looking at the beginning. So we'll just change that quickly to a short date. All right. Okay, our work looks better now. The next thing we need to do, we have some empty cells that we need to work on because it will not make sense. So when you have empty cells in your data, there are different ways of handling data sets. I mean, handling empty cells within your data, or empty rows or empty columns. So if you have an entire row or an entire column empty, there's no need keeping it. You're just wasting space, so you can just get rid of it. But once you have maybe just a few cells within a row that are that have missing values, you might have to check back from the data source if there was no like what the cause of the missing value is. And if there's no tangible cost, you can get rid of the entire row. It depends on what you're working with anyways. You can also, if it's a row that or a column that has numbers and you have empty cells, you can use the mean value of the range of numbers to replace those empty cells. So in this case, I will just where I have empty cells, I want to replace them with NA. So before I do that, I'd like to copy and paste this. Copy and then I'll paste as values. That's what I want to do. So I can get rid of this column. Right. I can also get rid of this error. Okay. Oh, we missed out one. That's funny. Let's go back. So there was this comma we did not split. So I'll say it again. I thought we split it at okay. There's underscore, comma, full stop, comma, space, comma. Oh, I did full stop twice. So the next one should be comma, not full stop. So if I do this, so this Amina has splitted correctly. I'll delete this one and I'll copy and paste as values. Control C, paste as values by right click. Then I delete this. Then I have a cleaner data set. Okay, so the next thing I wanted to handle is the empty cells. One more thing before we go on. You must also check for duplicates. I mentioned it at the beginning. So there are different ways you can go about checking for duplicates. You can, first of all, try to identify there's even a duplicate in the first place. So I highlight the portion of the data sets, and then under conditional formatting, you see highlight cell rows. And once I click on duplicate values, I can see duplicate values all through that exist. So I know that it looks like these names are duplicates, but that's not what we should bother about. We should be mostly bothered about the customer ID because that's like the unique identifier. So if we see that customer ID is appearing twice, yes, I can see this 1346, 1346, 1322, 1322. So we can say that they are duplicates. Those are the ones who get rid of. And since we already understand that they are duplicates in this data sets, we can get rid of it immediately. So I'll clear the row so it looks fine or better. Then to remove the duplicates, I'll go to the data tab and then I would remove duplicate feature over here. Just click on it. Automatically to identify all your headers. And once you check this point, says my table has headers, it would identify all your headers. So I want to remove duplicates from customer ID, first name, last name, but I don't want to remove duplicates from this other columns because I see that the items here are repeated and it's for a purpose. So I'll just uncheck the rest. So I'll do this. So it said there are 6 duplicates found and 24 values, unique values remain. So I do that. And then I see that I don't have any of those duplicates anymore. So that's how to handle duplicates. Next thing we're going to work on now is the blank cells. So I'll use the shortcut key Control G on. I have to highlight the whole table. So Control A to highlight and then Control G. Then go to Special. You can choose where you want to go to within your data set. In this case, I want to go to the blanks and I hit OK. What happens now is that it highlights the blanks for me. So if I want to replace all the blanks with NA, for example, I'll just go to my formula tab and type in NA. And then I hit, oops. I go to my formula tab and I hit type in NA, and I hit Control and Enter, and it populates NA all through the empty cells for me instantly. So I have that. So once I'm done with that, my data set is coming together well. And you can see that there's some other things I would need to make it even look better. So one of the things that I also always advise is converting your range to a table. Oh, this one was not, just type it manually. Range to a table. So to do that, you hold Control T, and then it converts it to a table. You may ask, is it not already a table? So Excel doesn't recognize this as a table. With a table, there are more features that you have access to. Once I convert this to a table, you see a new tab will be added, table design. So once I hit OK, you see this tab called table design. It gives my table some form of formatting. And if you're not comfortable with that formatting, or you want something simple, you can go for something simple. I think this works in this case. You agree with me that this data set looks better than the way how we came in the first place. Okay. And if you don't want to convert to a table, you can always convert back to a range. So if I click on convert to range, and it will ask me, do I want to convert to a normal range? I say yes. So what happens is that table design tab disappears, but the formatting still stays. So for the purpose of this class, let's convert it to a range. I want to spell out something again. So with what I want to spell out is one of the functionalities of a table. Now, I have quantity, I have price, I have cost per unit. I would like to calculate the revenue that this company has gotten from every customer. So I type in a new column and I call it revenue. So I want to multiply quantity by price. So I can just do equal to, once I click here, it's giving me the cell reference L3 multiplied by the price M3, and I hit enter. Yes, it gives me a value and I can populate it to the end. But let me show you how why working with a table is better. So I convert this back to a table. See, it has given me the formatting and added that last column to my table. There's something we call structural referencing. So remember when I wanted to multiply quantity times price, I saw L3 multiplied by M3. But if I want to, for example, I want to subtract cost by the revenue, or because this cost per unit and this is the number of units, the quantity is the number of units, so I have to multiply what I have here. Now, instead of the computer showing me N3, it is referencing the table name, the column name, that's cost per unit, multiplied by the quantity, right? So this, and instantly, I don't even need to drag down. It instantly populates the amount for me. So this will be our cost price. I can just rename it to cost. And then now, in order to find our profit, for example, I will just subtract. Once I even type in profit, it has populated the column for me, revenue. So remember, is the formula equal to the revenue minus the cost. So I have revenue minus cost. The structural referencing gives you, it even helps you with your, it makes your formula clearer for anybody that's going to take up that task from you. It makes it easier to read, and it's even faster. So those are some of the benefits of the table. So for each of these products, these are the profits we made. So next thing I'll just do is to format this, because I can see that they are all different formats. So just highlight the whole table and then make sure they are all in same format. And for these columns with numbers and convert them to proper numbers. Okay. So that's most of I'm sure these are some of the steps we take when working with data and cleaning data. I hope you learned, so you can also, if you'd like, do some further formatting. So for example, I want all borders to show something like this, even on the table design tab. You can also choose whether you want the filter button or you do not, whether you want the header row to be colored or not. Yeah, and those are many other things. You can also analyze it further using a pivot table. You'll learn more of this if or when you join our bootcamp that's coming up next week. So I hope you learned a thing or two. That will be all from me for today. Thank you.
Thank you very much for the very hands-on session. Any questions from anyone? So I've again shared the link of the bootcamp in the chat, so you can. Oh, I think I sent the wrong links for the registration. Okay, I will have to send the right link. Just realized now that I've been sharing the wrong link all this way. Go get the right
Can I
link.
drop it? I have the link.
Oh,
I
you
can
have
also
the,
drop
please
it.
help me. I've been
Okay.
sharing the one where they will join the teams rather than the
Oh,
actual sign up.
okay. Come in. Let me get it quickly.
Yeah, and in the meantime, any questions from anyone before we end the session? Okay. Let me also, I think we also created one short link. Let me see if I can grab that one too. Yeah, I've seen it.
Okay.
Camp registration. Yes. Might need to make a correction, and I've sent some emails out that I sent the wrong link. Okay, so any questions from anyone else? Any contribution, questions, opinion? Maybe I'll use the opportunity to just also walk you through the structure of the boot camp so that if you're interested, you can, take advantage. So the boot camp, I thought I was sharing my screen. Okay, now it should be showing. So all you need to do is just click on that link and then you get on this sign up page and you fill in your details, you decide, you choose whether you want to do the free or you want a certificate. And then if you want to take all three courses or just one or any of the three specific courses, and then what your expectations are. And that's just it. How did you hear about the boot camp? And we need to include our webinar here so that we can be able to also track those who came into the webinar. Okay, so it's a very short form, and that's all. We send the instructions by early next week to everybody who registers. So please take advantage. And with that, I think we can draw today's session to a close. Thank you for being part of the session, and for those who might be watching the recording, This is the link to sign up for the webinar for the bootcamp, vip.yourbizedge.com/bootcamp form. Okay, so thank you everyone. Thank you, Tolu, for the very insightful session, and I hope to see everyone in the bootcamp that starts on Saturday, this coming Saturday, this week Saturday actually. So thank you everyone. Have a wonderful week ahead. Bye.
Thank you, guys.